You pull into the gas station, same one you always use, same routine. You swipe the card, grab the nozzle, stick it in the filler neck, and wait. Maybe you check your phone, maybe you watch the numbers climb on the screen, and then, click. The pump shuts off automatically. And almost every driver on the planet does the same thing next. They squeeze the handle one more time, sometimes two. Sometimes they hold it down for another few seconds, watching the dollar amount tick up just a little higher. Round it off, top it off, get every last drop you paid for. It feels like the right move, efficient, responsible, the kind of thing a smart driver does. But that habit, that one completely automatic, completely invisible habit, is quietly destroying a component buried inside your car. A component most drivers have never seen, never thought about, and have no idea even exists. Until the check engine light comes on and the repair estimate lands in their hand. We're not talking about a minor fix here. Depending on your vehicle, this repair can run anywhere from $300 to over $600 in parts and labor combined. And the cruelest part of all? The extra fuel you squeezed out of that nozzle after the automatic shutoff? On a good day, that's $2 or $3, maybe less. You traded $2 for a potential $500 repair, and you did it over and over again, every single time you filled up, without ever knowing the damage was accumulating. This video is going to change the way you fill up your tank permanently, not because of some vague warning, because once you understand exactly what's happening inside your car, mechanically, physically, step by step, you won't be able to unsee it. Gasoline doesn't just sit still inside your tank, it evaporates. Even at normal temperatures, fuel in a sealed tank is constantly producing hydrocarbon vapor. Gasoline doesn't just sit still inside your tank, it evaporates. Even at normal temperatures, fuel in a sealed tank is constantly producing hydrocarbon vapor. That vapor has to go somewhere, and if it were allowed to simply escape into the atmosphere, you'd have a serious environmental problem and a serious health hazard every time you parked in an enclosed space. So beginning in the early 1970s, automakers in the United States were required to start capturing those vapors. The system got progressively more sophisticated over the decades. And by 1996, when the OBD2 diagnostic standard became mandatory across all passenger vehicles sold in the US, a fully sealed, fully monitored EVAP system became a legal requirement. Every car, every truck, every SUV on American roads today has one. That vent line runs to a canister, the charcoal canister, also called the EVAP canister or carbon canister. That vent line runs to a canister, the charcoal canister, also called the EVAP canister or carbon canister. Inside that canister is a bed of activated charcoal, sometimes called activated carbon. This material has an extraordinarily porous structure at the microscopic level, which gives it a massive surface area relative to its size. A single gram of activated charcoal can have a surface area of over 500 square meters. That's not a typo. That enormous surface area is what makes it so effective at trapping vapor molecules. Fuel vapors from the tank travel through the vent line, enter the canister, and get adsorbed, held against the surface of the charcoal. The vapors stay there until the engine is running and conditions are right, at which point the ECU opens a purge valve, creates a vacuum through the intake manifold, and pulls those stored vapors out of the canister and into the combustion process. They burn. They're gone. The charcoal resets, ready to capture more. It's a closed loop, elegant, invisible, and it works perfectly, as long as only vapor enters that canister. To understand why topping off is so destructive, you need to understand what actually happens inside the filler neck and the tank when you're pumping gas. The pump nozzle isn't just a tube that delivers fuel. It's a precision instrument with a specific safety mechanism built into it. Running along the outside of the nozzle, there's a small tube, the Venturi tube, sometimes called the sensing tube. Its opening sits right at the tip of the nozzle, inside your filler neck. As fuel fills up in the tank, the rising liquid eventually reaches the point where it starts to block the opening of that tube. When that happens, a pressure differential is created, and that pressure change triggers a mechanical diaphragm inside the nozzle handle. The diaphragm releases, the flow stops, the pump clicks off. That click is precise, it's calibrated. It's telling you that the usable capacity of your fuel tank has been reached, not approximately reached, reached. What most people don't realize is that fuel tanks aren't filled to their absolute physical maximum. There's intentional empty space left at the top, typically around 10 to 15% of total tank volume. That space exists for a reason. Gasoline expands with temperature. It needs room to expand without creating dangerous pressure. That space is also where fuel vapor accumulates before being routed to the charcoal canister. It's called the vapor space, and it's not wasted room. It's a functional part of the system. When the automatic shutoff triggers, that vapor space is intact. The system is in balance. Everything is working the way it was engineered to work. When you override the shutoff and keep pumping, you're filling the vapor space with liquid fuel. The tank has nowhere to put it. The excess has to go somewhere. And the path of least resistance is the vent line, the same line that connects the tank to the charcoal canister. Think about that for a moment. The line specifically designed to carry vapor is now carrying liquid. Liquid that was never supposed to be there. Liquid that travels directly into a component packed with activated charcoal that was designed, tested, and calibrated to handle vapor only. When liquid gasoline saturates activated charcoal, the charcoal doesn't just get wet. The pores that give it its enormous absorptive surface area get filled, not with vapor molecules that can be purged cleanly, but with liquid hydrocarbons that bond differently and don't release the same way. Over time, the charcoal loses its ability to absorb vapor effectively. The canister becomes what technicians call fuel-saturated or liquid-loaded, and a saturated canister creates a cascade of problems. First, it can no longer store fuel vapor properly. Vapors that should be captured start escaping through the vent path instead, which is both an emissions violation and the reason some drivers notice a faint gasoline smell near their car when it's been sitting. Second, the purge cycle becomes disrupted. High-tech 3D animation of an automotive purge valve opening. A light, clean mist of vapor is expected to flow through. Professional technical render. No text labels. A saturated canister can instead allow raw liquid fuel to enter the intake manifold during the purge cycle. In some cases, this can cause the engine to run rich temporarily, more fuel than the combustion cycle is calibrated to handle, which stresses the catalytic converter and can contribute to rough, idle, or hesitation under certain conditions. Third, and most directly, the ECU monitors the EVAP system continuously through a series of self-tests it runs during normal driving. It checks for leaks, it checks pressure. It checks the function of the purge valve and the vent valve. When the canister is compromised, these tests start failing. And failing tests mean diagnostic trouble codes. And diagnostic trouble codes mean the check engine light. That light isn't your car being dramatic. It's your car telling you exactly what's wrong, in a language most drivers were never taught to read. The most common EVAP-related codes you'll see from this kind of damage are P0440, which indicates a general EVAP system malfunction, P0442, which flags a small leak detected in the system, P0455, which indicates a large leak, and P0446, which points specifically to a vent control circuit issue. Some vehicles also throw manufacturer-specific codes that dig deeper into which part of the system is failing. Here's where the repair process gets complicated and expensive in ways that most drivers don't anticipate. When you pull into a shop with a check engine light and the technician pulls an EVAP code, the diagnostic process doesn't automatically point to the charcoal canister. EVAP codes are notorious in the automotive world for being difficult to trace. The system involves multiple components: the canister itself, the purge valve solenoid, the vent valve solenoid, the fuel tank pressure sensor, the filler cap, and the network of hoses and lines connecting all of them. Any one of these can trigger the same codes. So what happens in a lot of shops, not all of them, but a lot, is a process of elimination. The technician starts with the cheapest, most accessible parts. Gas cap first. If that clears the code, great. If not, purge valve. If not, vent solenoid. Each replacement costs money, each diagnostic cycle costs labor time, and the bill grows. Meanwhile, the actual problem, the saturated canister, sits there the whole time, getting worse with every tank of gas if the driver's habits haven't changed. A quality technician with the right equipment will perform what's called an EVAP smoke test. A machine injects low-pressure smoke into the sealed EVAP system, and the technician looks for where the smoke escapes. This is the most reliable way to identify leaks and compromised components without guessing. But not every shop has this equipment readily available, and not every estimate includes it up front. If you ever get an EVAP-related check engine light and the first thing a shop wants to do is replace parts without mentioning a smoke test, it's worth asking about it. A smoke test typically adds $75 to $150 to the diagnostic cost, but it can save you from paying for 3 wrong repairs before finding the right one. Now let's talk about the actual cost of the charcoal canister replacement, because this is where the numbers get real. The part itself varies significantly by vehicle. On a basic economy sedan, you might find a canister in the $80 to $150 range for an aftermarket replacement, or $200 to $350 for an OEM part. On a full-size truck or SUV, OEM canister pricing regularly exceeds $300 to $400 for the part alone. Some European and luxury vehicles have canisters that are integrated with other components, which pushes the replacement cost even higher. Labor is where the variability really opens up. On some vehicles, the charcoal canister is accessible from the engine bay in less than an hour. On others, particularly trucks where the canister is mounted near the fuel tank underneath the vehicle, removal requires dropping components or working in a tight space that adds significant time to the job. Labor is where the variability really opens up. On some vehicles, the charcoal canister is accessible from the engine bay in less than an hour. When you add it all together, diagnostic time, smoke test, part cost, labor, a realistic range for a charcoal canister replacement is $300 on the low end for a straightforward job on a common domestic vehicle, and $600 to $800 or more for a complex job on a truck, SUV, or import. Some drivers have paid over $1,000 once you factor in related components that were also damaged. And here's the thing about related components. The purge valve solenoid works in tandem with the canister. Its job is to open and close the pathway between the canister and the intake manifold during the purge cycle. When the canister is saturated, liquid fuel can pass through the purge valve during purge cycles, fuel that was never meant to be there. Over time, this can damage the valve itself. So in some cases, a saturated canister leads to a failed purge valve, which means two parts being replaced instead of one. The repair bill grows. The cause remains a habit that took 3 seconds at the gas pump. If you've been watching this and thinking about your own car, if you've been topping off regularly, if you've had a check engine light come and go, if you've had EVAP codes in the past that seemed to resolve and then came back, there's a reasonable chance your canister has already taken damage. If you've been topping off regularly and you want to know the actual current condition of your EVAP system, the most useful thing you can do is take the car to a trusted shop and request an EVAP smoke test specifically. Not a general inspection, not just a code read, a smoke test. If you've learned something from this video already, take 2 seconds right now. Drop a comment below. Tell me what car you drive. Tell me if you've been topping off. Hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. There's a lot on this channel that goes this deep into how your car actually works. The stuff your dealer's service department has no interest in explaining to you, because informed customers ask better questions and make fewer impulsive decisions at the service counter. Subscribe. You'll want to be here for the next one. Now, the second mistake. After filling up, you hang the nozzle back, maybe tighten the gas cap with a quick half turn, and drive off. Feels done. Feels complete. But that gas cap, that piece of hardware most people treat like a formality, is one of the most structurally important seals in the entire EVAP system. The EVAP system operates as a closed, pressurized circuit. The ECU performs regular leak detection tests while the car sits and while it's driven, monitoring pressure differentials inside the sealed system. A properly installed gas cap creates an airtight seal at the filler neck. When that seal is compromised, even slightly, the system detects the pressure loss and registers it as a leak. Most factory and OEM quality gas caps are designed with a ratcheting mechanism. When you install the cap correctly, you'll feel and hear it click, usually 1 to 3 clicks, as the cap seats and locks. That clicking isn't just tactile feedback. It's confirmation that the O-ring seal inside the cap has compressed properly against the filler neck and created the airtight barrier the EVAP system requires. A lot of drivers give the cap one turn and move on. If that one turn doesn't fully engage the ratchet, the cap is seated but not sealed. The gap is tiny, invisible, but it's enough for the ECU's leak detection routine to flag a problem. Many modern vehicles will actually display a specific message on the instrument cluster, something like "check gas cap," before escalating to a full check engine light, specifically because this is such a common and easily solved issue. If you've recently had a check engine light appear shortly after a fill-up, this is the first thing to check before spending $1 at any shop. Tighten the cap properly, clear the code with a scan tool, and monitor whether it returns. There's also a failure mode specific to the gas cap itself. The O-ring seal inside the cap degrades over time with heat cycles and exposure to fuel vapor. An old, cracked, or hardened O-ring won't seal properly even if the cap is installed correctly. Gas caps are inexpensive, typically $15 to $30 for a quality replacement. Now, beyond the gas cap, there's a third element of this that most videos on this topic skip entirely. The vent valve solenoid, sometimes called the canister vent valve or CVS, is the component on the other end of the canister from the purge valve. Its job is to open during the purge cycle to allow fresh air to flow through the canister, helping to draw stored vapors out toward the engine, and to close during the EVAP leak detection test, sealing the system so the ECU can check for pressure loss. When the vent valve fails, either stuck open or stuck closed, the ECU's test results become unreliable. Stuck open means the system can't hold pressure for the test. Stuck closed means fresh air can't enter during purge, which reduces purge efficiency and can cause the canister to become overloaded with vapor even under normal use. Vent valve solenoids are a relatively common wear item, particularly on vehicles with higher mileage. Replacement cost is generally lower than the canister, typically $80 to $200 in parts plus labor. But because the symptoms overlap with so many other EVAP components, it often gets misdiagnosed. Again, a proper smoke test and an experienced technician shorten that diagnostic path significantly. By now you understand the system: the canister, the purge valve, the vent valve, the gas cap. 4 interconnected components that most drivers have never thought about, all working together to manage something as simple as the vapor that comes off a tank of gas. And all of them vulnerable to damage from habits so minor, so routine, that they don't even register as decisions. Modern fuel systems are designed to operate within a specific pressure range inside the tank and the EVAP circuit. When you habitually top off the tank, you're not just threatening the canister, you're repeatedly forcing liquid fuel into a vapor management system that was designed to operate in a specific pressure window. Over time, this can accelerate wear on the fuel tank pressure sensor, a component that feeds data to the ECU to help manage the EVAP purge cycle. This is the part of the repair that turns a $400 job into a $700 job. The charcoal canister isn't a binary component. It doesn't work perfectly one day and fail completely the next. It degrades gradually. A canister that's been partially saturated but hasn't yet failed completely can stabilize if the source of liquid fuel intrusion stops. The remaining functional charcoal continues to operate. The purge cycles continue to draw out what vapor they can. The degradation stops progressing. Changing the habit now doesn't undo past damage, but it stops the accumulation. And in many cases, stopping the accumulation is the difference between a canister that limps along for another few years and one that fails within the next several months. If you live in a state that requires emissions testing, a failed EVAP system is one of the most common reasons vehicles fail the test. If the EVAP monitor is showing as incomplete or failed, the vehicle will not pass. Suddenly, the registration renewal is at risk. The repair becomes an emergency driven by a deadline. Knowing your EVAP system puts you ahead of that scenario entirely. Let's bring this all the way back to the beginning, to the gas station, to the nozzle in your hand, and the pump that just clicked off. What you do in that moment determines whether the EVAP system in your car stays healthy. When the pump clicks off, stop pumping. Immediately. Walk away from that number on the screen. $2 of fuel is not worth $500 of canister. When you replace the gas cap, turn it until it clicks. Every time. 5 seconds of attention at every fill-up. If you've had EVAP-related codes and you've been topping off, be direct with your technician. A proactive smoke test is money well spent. It removes uncertainty. The EVAP system deserves a place in your regular maintenance awareness, right alongside brakes, tires, and coolant. The information in this video has been available in service manuals for decades. Use it. Share it with someone who fills up their tank the same way you used to. Send them this video. The information doesn't cost anything to pass along, and it might save them a repair bill they really can't afford. Hit the like button if this video was worth your time. Subscribe if you want more of this. Take care of your car. It's one of the most expensive things you own, and it will take care of you right back, as long as you know how to take care of it first. This was the Automotive Guide. Keep your engine running smooth. Take care.